Good evening. So, last week I was talking about the new Dumbledore's outfit in leaked photos from him filming scenes on a beach in Cornwall. Which does make you wonder, what were they doing filming any scenes on a beach in Cornwall? In this entire book series, there is only one scene that involves Dumbledore on any sort of beach area. And it is book 6 near the end when Harry and Dumbledore take a little trip to look for Voldemort's locket Horcrux and end up in the cave. So I suppose it is possible that they are shooting these scenes now, which in principle I don't think is an issue. In fact, I would say that in principle it's actually a good idea, considering that John Lithgow, who's obviously playing Dumbledore, is now 80 years old. So say they film series 6 in like 8 years from now, he'll be 88 by then. So you can see, to be fair, why they would want to get ahead of the curve and get as much of Dumbledore's scenes from the last 2 books done sooner rather than later. Now, they definitely could do this, like a lot of big production companies do this sort of thing all the time. They could film Dumbledore's scenes now using a stand-in for Harry and then film Harry's scenes in 7 or 8 years and sort of stitch the scenes together. It's very possible. But my only qualm with this theory is that I don't know whether this is the sort of scene that they would do this with. The whole Harry and Dumbledore hunting for Voldemort's locket Horcrux sequence is very emotional and intense. I can't help thinking that they might want the on-screen chemistry between the 2 actors here. It feels to me that there are other scenes that will be much easier to do this sort of thing with. For example, in the final book, Dumbledore occupies a portrait in the headmaster's office in Hogwarts and advises Snape on a variety of things. That would be the perfect sort of scene that they could easily film now, as it's essentially just Dumbledore in a portrait talking. It would be very easy to do. Other examples are flashbacks that Harry sees in the Pensieve from book 6 when Dumbledore goes to Voldemort's orphanage. There's actually loads of examples of stuff that they could easily film now, but I'm just not entirely convinced that the cave and beach scenes from the end of book 6 are necessarily the ones that they would do. Which kind of takes us back to the same question, what are they filming on the beach? So I've got a couple of other theories. The first theory is that it's when the Dursleys are trying to escape the letters and they go to stay on the little rock in the sea in the first book, when Hagrid eventually finds them. So a little recap, the Dursleys take Harry away with them to try and evade the never-ending letters that Harry's being sent, inviting him to Hogwarts. So they sort of drive around the country a bit, staying at a few different motels along the way, and they eventually go to stay on the weird little hut on a rock in the sea. Now we know that they very possibly have been filming these scenes of the Dursleys arriving and hiring a little boat which they take out to the little hut on the rock, as we have seen other leaked images of the Dursleys filming at a little fishing village by the sea. So my theory is that we know someone must have been trailing the Dursleys and sending Harry's letters, because before they head to the sea, they stay at a little motel and the concierge brings hundreds of letters to Harry at breakfast saying that they've been left at the reception for him. It's never actually specified who has been trailing them. I think it's sort of implied that it is Hagrid, seeing as he's the one that eventually does turn up. But I guess it is possible that it was actually Dumbledore that was trailing them, and this shot on the beach is sort of him tracking them. It kind of seems a bit like below Dumbledore, but considering it is the famous Harry Potter after all, Dumbledore may have wanted to do it himself. And maybe when he realised Harry wasn't getting the letters at all, he eventually sent Hagrid. So I think this is possible, but there is another theory that I actually think is the most likely of them all. So we have seen other leaked images of Dumbledore meeting the Flamels, Nicholas and Perenelle, where Dumbledore is wearing what looks like the same outfit as what we can see here, and I think is somewhere near a beach, which is huge news by the way. Nicholas and Perenelle Flamel are being played by Lambert Wilson and Martha Keller, respectively. The fact that they're appearing in this show is mad stuff, as these characters obviously didn't appear in the films, but what's even more surprising is they didn't actually appear in the books. They were both mentioned in the books, but there was never any actual scenes with them in. So therefore, I think the images of Dumbledore on the beach could be tied to the other images that we've seen where he's meeting up with the Flamels. I think overall that's the most likely answer to what's going on here. Clearly HBO are sort of elaborating on stuff that we saw in the books here. It's possible that these scenes are either the 3 of them meeting up to discuss the moving of the Philosopher's Stone from Gringotts to Hogwarts, Or they could be meeting up to agree that it should be destroyed after Voldemort almost stole it. So I think either of these two, or even both, are possible, seeing as Nicholas Flamel made the stone with Dumbledore's help, and both he and his wife Perenelle had been using it to stay alive, so they would have absolutely been involved in any decision to move the stone to safety at Hogwarts, and then eventually the decision to destroy it. In fact, it is mentioned at the end of the first Harry Potter book that Dumbledore had actually agreed with Nicholas and Perenelle that it should be destroyed. As I say though, we never actually witnessed this interaction or conversation in the book. The fact that HBO are exploring this sort of subtext a bit and adding more context that was even in the book is brilliant. I'm more than happy for them to do that, as long as it's not like making stuff up and it's more like reading between the lines of what is in the book. To be fair though, if they are doing this, which it kind of seems like they are, they're setting the bar very high for themselves. Because if they've got the luxury and time to take the story further than even the books themselves, then they best not miss a single detail from these books. And that'll be some task, especially like in later books. So good luck to them. Anyway, so yeah, I think the most likely scenes that are being filmed here on the beach is Dumbledore perhaps arriving to meet the Flamels or something like that. Let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments and subscribe to the channel for more of Harry Potter obsessions.